All right, let's get right into it. When we talk about good code, what comes to mind? Probably some super smart algorithm, right? Or maybe just logic that works perfectly. But what if I told you the very first thing that signals your professionalism has almost nothing to do with all that? What if it's just about how your code looks? Yeah, today we're going to dig into why formatting isn't just window dressing. It's actually one of the most important ways we as developers communicate.
You gotta love the honesty here, right? This quote does not pull any punches. It just gets straight to the point. Messy code isn't just a style choice. Nope, it's a massive red flag. It basically screams, I don't pay attention to detail. And if you can't be bothered with the simple stuff, like how the code looks, well, why on earth would anyone trust you with the really complicated logic? It's a huge and sometimes fatal hit to your credibility right out of the gate.
So, here's the bottom line. Formatting isn't about memorizing some dusty old rulebook. It's about communication. I mean, that's our number one job as professionals, right? We're writing code for other people to read. It needs to be crystal clear. Not just for your teammates looking at it today, but for you, 6 months from now. When you're looking at your own code and have absolutely no idea what you were thinking. Yeah, that you. Okay, so how do we actually turn our code into something that's easy to communicate? Well, the source material gives us this really cool mental model. Try this. Stop thinking of your code files as just a list of instructions. Instead, imagine you're a journalist laying out the front page of a newspaper. Seriously, just that one little shift in perspective, it can completely change how you approach writing code. And this is exactly what we're aiming for. Think about it. When you pick up a newspaper, you don't start by reading every single word, right? Of course not. You scan the headlines. You read the first paragraph to get the summary. Then you decide if you want to dive deeper. Our source files should work the exact same way. Someone should be able to just glance at it and get the main idea from the top down. So let's break down how to actually do this. Step 1, the headline. That's your class name. It needs to tell the reader pretty much the whole story. Step 2, the synopsis. Right at the top, you put your high-level concepts, the big ideas. Then, as the reader scrolls down, this is step 3, the details start to trickle in. And finally, step 4, way down at the bottom, that's where you hide all the nitty-gritty, low-level stuff. It creates this awesome top-down story that's super easy to follow. All right, so keeping that newspaper metaphor in our heads, let's dive into some specific rules. We're going to start with the big picture, the layout of the file from top to bottom. We're talking about vertical formatting. And really, it all boils down to 4 key ideas. We've got vertical openness, that's using blank lines to separate things. Then there's vertical density, which is the opposite, keeping related stuff tight. We also have vertical distance, making sure things that belong together stay together. And finally, vertical ordering, which is all about making sure that story flows from top to bottom. I mean, wow, just look at the difference here. The code on the left, it's a total wall of text. Your brain has to work overtime just to figure out where one idea ends and another begins. But on the right, it's the exact same code. All we did was add a few blank lines, and suddenly, it can breathe. You can clearly see the different parts, the imports, the class definition, the methods. It's like adding paragraph breaks to an essay. It's a total game changer for readability. Now, if blank lines are for creating separation, this is the other side of that coin, vertical density. This is all about closeness. When lines of code are all part of one single thought, you want to group them tightly together. Like a little family. Putting blank lines in between them would be like splitting them up. It just weakens that visual connection. And this leads to a really powerful idea they call conceptual affinity. It sounds fancy, but it's super simple. Things that are related in your head should be related on the screen. Stick them close together. A variable and the function that uses it, they should be neighbors. A function that calls another function, put the caller right on top. The goal is to stop making people go on a wild scavenger hunt, scrolling all over the file just to understand what's happening. Okay, so we've sorted out our file from top to bottom. Now let's zoom in. We're going to look at each individual line. It's time to talk about horizontal formatting. Okay, this is super interesting because it settles one of those endless developer debates with actual data, not just opinions. People analyzed millions of lines of code and look at the result. It's undeniable. See that massive drop-off right around the 80-character mark? It turns out developers naturally prefer writing short lines of code. Our brains are just wired to read them more easily. So yeah, that old 80-character rule came from ancient terminals, but the idea behind it is still solid. I mean, these days we have giant widescreen monitors, so we have a bit more breathing room. A good modern rule of thumb, aim for about 120 characters tops. If you're going way past that, it's probably a sign that your line is doing too many things at once and needs to be broken up. And this right here might be the most important rule of all, indentation. The code on the left is a complete nightmare. I mean, technically it works, but it's basically impossible to read. It's just a flat wall of text. Now look at the right. With proper indentation, the structure of the code just pops out at you. You can see the hierarchy, how everything fits together. Let's be real. Without good indentation, your code is unreadable. Full stop. So, okay, we've got all these great rules for formatting our code, but here's the catch. They're only truly powerful if everyone on the team follows them. And that brings us to maybe the most important part of this whole discussion, team style guides. This is the big one, folks. If you work on a team, this is the rule to rule them all. I don't care if you like your curly braces here or there, your personal preference, it doesn't matter. What matters is that the team agrees on one style and sticks to it. Consistency is king. It wins over individual style every single time. And here's why that's so important. When an entire project looks and feels the same, it's just easier to read. Your brain doesn't have to constantly switch gears trying to adapt to 5 different people's coding quirks. It lowers the mental effort needed to understand the code. The whole thing feels professional and unified, not like a messy patchwork quilt made by a bunch of people who weren't talking to each other. So, how do you actually get there? How do you achieve this state of formatting nirvana? Well, the answer is definitely not a 50-page document that gathers dust. The answer is to automate it. Get the team to agree on the rules, plug those rules into a formatting tool, and then just let the tool handle it. It becomes the impartial referee. It ends all those silly arguments over style and lets you focus your brain power on the stuff that actually matters. You know, writing code that works. Because in the end, that's what this is all about. Every single line of code you write is part of a story. And your formatting, that's the grammar, the punctuation, the very structure of that story. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time someone opens up one of your files, what story are they going to see? Is it going to be something clear, professional, and easy to follow? Or is it going to look like it was written by drunken sailors? Ultimately, that choice is up to you.